this might be a controversial conversation, but the BMI, as it stands, does apply to all of us. Now, in terms of what the BMI is actually body mass index. And how do we use it is in order to give us a guide about how to assess potential risk. So why am I bringing this up? Is because I think there has to be a there's needs to be a conversation about the fact that right now we're taking strict issue with actually applying it to people in terms of health. Now, I want to approach it from the reasoning why we are actually using it. We use it because it's widely accepted around the world as the general guide, but it has also nuance to it that I can happily talk about. But I want to bring into the conversation an older study, just because I think that there's value in the years that it was more accepted. Now is we're trying to leave that behind in terms of how do we approach compassionate medicine. But just before I start, I do want to make sure you're aware. I do have some knowledge into it. I am an RN. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Jessica. And I have conversations about weight loss, weight-related disease education, and how to approach weight loss in an affordable way that honors our way of living. In terms of me being an RN, and I also do bring some I would say that I bring some additional value to this conversation, as I have lost over 100 pounds. So going back, the study that I wanted to just bring up is the one from is Dr. Nuttall in a 2015 study talking about body mass index, obesity, BMI, and health. I just found this particular study very comprehensible, like, in terms of how it approaches BMI, and as well as the speech is just not the language behind it is just very comprehensive, to the point. So I love this study. Now, it does say that the BMI has been useful in population-based studies by virtue and its wide acceptance in defining specific categories of body mass as health issue. Now, the problem here is actually twofold. One is to do with when you do, because the equation is the height overweight status. It doesn't actually add any more value than just giving you that perspective of you weigh this much and you should weigh this much if you were that tall. It doesn't really give us an insight of your bone density, your fat versus your muscle structure. Now, where this becomes problematic is, of course, the people that are outliers, right? The people that are bone dense and the people that are actually more muscly than they have fat. So then you have this problem where, we're not really getting to the root of the person. We're just getting to the root of the population. But we can all actually really face the fact that as it stands, we are all facing an obesity crisis. We are all, in general, gaining weight, and it is a crisis. So what I say in the second aspect of it is that the other piece is how do we treat these specific this is the specific people, and should they apply to the first problem, which is that it doesn't capture the breakdown of your body. Well, I got news for you, and unfortunately they're not very good news for you. The BMI applies to all of us because we're the common people. We're not the special people. Let that sink in. So most of the BMI does apply to us in terms of most of the time, our bone density is according to our age group, and our fat level is typically higher, and our muscle mass is lower. Meaning that if you're 50, there is that regularity there, unless you are an unusual, like, someone that's not really the usual, the typical. Most of it applies to us. So therefore, we can use the BMI as a guide. That's the sad truth. And not only that, we're not fastidious about the regular and overweight category. Where this is pertinent is where you are now having obese type 2 obese, and the 3 types of obesity, where your scaling the BMI is going closer to 100. That is where it's really pertinent, because it doesn't tell us whether you are sick now, which is now we're going to the second conversation in terms of all this mess, is the fact that this allows us facing that in terms of getting to that number, give us insight, not of your health status, because you could be very healthy, and nobody's denying that. Nobody can deny the fact that you're currently working on yourself, you're working out, and things are looking good in terms of your movement and in terms of. But nobody can deny the fact that that is really just giving us the skeleton guide of your risk. Does that make sense? So we do have to have an element of really of going back and taking the BMI and not putting it so it becomes such an issue that now we're arguing over whether the BMI is useful or not useful. And I am very healthy and I work out, and I, believe you me, at 270 pounds, I was on a loss journey, and I was moving my body every day. At 250, I was a year in, well, no, not 250, at 220, I was a year and a year and a half in of working out regularly and eating right, and yes, having my BIGE moments, but they were lessening less, and I was working on how my day looked like, and I was working out. It was not reflecting who I was as a person, but it was giving an indication to my doctor of how things were progressing with me when it was getting lower, and my risk level at that time. So we do have to, some things we have to face, some things they have to present to us, and we do have to ensure that they are what they are. It's a number. It really, truly, we should take it back. We should take it back in terms of it doesn't give us value. It shouldn't be anything other than a small conversation piece with your doctor about risk. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope that it brought some perspective in the fact that there's really, really value into the fact that the BMI as a tool is useful. As a tool, it does apply to you in terms of that loose sort of number that can guide us through to our weight loss or weight maintenance journey. Have a wonderful day.